Good morning and welcome once again to Sunrise. I'm Joke Rogers.
And I'm Ayo Makinde. Yes, with Ayo Makinde, I heard you for the first time.
Allow me to introduce you once in a while.
Oh, okay. Let's start afresh.
Right. Good morning. I'm Joke Rogers. And with me today is...
Ayo Makinde. And with me today is... Sorry, okay. Okay, so hope you had a good and profitable week. Yesterday was International Drug something day.
Yes. The war against illicit drug.
Yeah.
It's still on. And, we'll be making significant milestones here in Nigeria.
Have we?
Well, according to the authorities in charge.
Well, okay, so it's disturbing. Okay, let's be honest. It's very, very disturbing. I still got to, when we mentioned it yesterday on our sister program, and I got a message from a former ambassador who said, look, I sat at the top of UNODC, and I know how bad the situation is. And I also recall that I think it was during the Babangida era, or maybe Abacha era, one of them, that they formed the NDLEA. Yeah. Now, that's about 40 years ago.
Right.
Or so. Yeah, 40 years ago, about 40 years ago. And we're still talking about the same thing now. That's concerning.
Really? But does the conversation ever end? You win some, you lose some in some of these cases.
No, this one I'm sorry. It seems that we have lost more than we have.
Does conversation about security ever end? People will always attempt to do things.
The question is, because one of the things that has also come to the fore is, what's the origin?
Yeah, well.
Bad governance. If people, it's not an excuse, but nature abhors vacuum, like one specialist would say. So long as people have needs and they are not able to, people will find a way to cope one way or the other. If there is some form of addiction that one person is battling with or the other, and it's not all addictions that we have an agency to deal with. For instance, let me not even say that one. The X-rated addiction, we don't have an agency that is dealing with that one. We don't have an agency that is dealing directly against acute smoking or whatever it is. But this drug is very, very destructive. Just recently, I think there was a drug bust in Oyo State. There was another drug bust in Plateau State.
Yes.
9-point-something tons of whatever drug it is. It means there is a market somewhere. Back in the 80s, we were a transit nation. Now we are a producing nation.
Not just consumer.
Producing and consuming nation. You saw one, you must have seen that video where a dog sniffed out drugs from one fellow's car trunk. It's in Nigeria. It happened in Nigeria, in Lagos. And the thing was in big packs. So the question is, what is the root of all these? Let's see if when people have good jobs, at least we know it cannot be eradicated. The U.S. has been dealing with it with Mexico for how many decades now? So can we bring down the severity? We also understand that even secondary schools, not just primary, not just universities, secondary schools are now battling drug addiction.
Yes.
And that,
especially boarding those in the boarding facilities.
So it's gotten to a crucial. I don't even know which. I mean, we deal with a lot of horrors, but I don't know which is worse anymore. All these things that we're battling, everything is now a war. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a battle against something.
Unfortunately, that's where we find ourselves for now. Yeah, you were talking about some other things. You wanted to talk about the state police thing?
Yes, of course. Now that the state police thing is now concrete, it's been passed.
Yes, by the Senate.
By the Senate.
Well, it's not a law yet.
Yes, it's not, but I mean, we're in a good stead. And you've always said something about subnationals. Now is your time to talk about it again.
Oh no, see, even that, there is subnational, then there is subnational. So we have state police. We don't have local government police. Maybe.
Yeah. You know, because on, I think one of our current affairs, program yesterday, was it that, or I think it was on Sunrise, or I don't know, I can't remember which one of the programs. One security expert was saying that in the United States, not only do states have police, as you rightly said, local governments will have police. And then when you now talk of councils, not just the local government, you now have the county police. So everybody is like 3 layers deep, the policing system. And there's still the federal police force in the United States. So you have like 3 or 4 layers deep of policing. So we have just gone one step further of state police. And he says that for us to get it right and to get security right, we need about 4 layers of a policing system.
Let's start with the one that we have.
Yes, that's what we're saying.
But the only challenge that I have right now is, we have an electricity, we have a law that empowers states to produce electricity.
But they're not.
How many states are producing electricity now? And it has been so structured, so quote-unquote democratized, across the federation that the NERC, Electricity Regulatory Commission, has empowered some states to do whatever it is that they need to do. The big discourse, the Keja discourse, Benin discourse, and all those discourse, they have now also been broken into smaller companies. They have broken into created smaller companies that deal with the different areas in the states. The next thing now is let the states start generating electricity for distribution. We don't have that yet. I think it was on this program we interviewed the fellow behind is it the geometric, the one in Aba. The man said with $20,000 you'll be able to 20 million or $20 billion you should be able to come up with a refinery, an electricity generation system in 3 years, he said. He took him 20 years. But he said it's nothing that cannot be done in 3 years. So in other words, in one governor's tenure, they should be able to come up with an electricity generating system.
They'll first do a blueprint platform. They will work towards it. By the end of the 4th year, it will be campaigned that by the time we are re-elected, we will be able to re-elect us so we can complete this job. Is that not what always happens?
There is supposed to be a
politicians
plan.
They plan and then they use it to campaign.
There is supposed to be a plan for the state.
I know.
So that no matter who comes in, we people gone, we say we have work. Look, we have a state plan for this state. Lagos State, I understand, now has another 30-year plan. From 2026, is it 2025 or 2026? They have another, they just ended a 25-year plan. They have another 30-year plan that no matter who comes into government, the person must follow that plan. They said that one governor tried to derail the plan. He was derailed. It's just as simple as that. So let the people themselves decide, look, follow this plan. The governor will not have a choice. So it goes back to accountability. How do we hold our governors
accountable
to account?
Yes, now more than ever.
200% or 300% of whatever it is, they now get. I'm waiting for that state police. Now state police follow here. I'm waiting for. I saw a video, a picture. Someone drew a picture using AI. LSPD. I saw one guy, wore LSPD. The way FBI will wear LSPD. Another lady, LSPD. Okay, so Lagos State Police Department.
Lagos State Police Department. That has a nice ring to it.
Right? I have a problem with the police force. We have a Nigerian police force. Maybe it's the force that's the problem. Can we change it to service? So Lagos State's
Police Service, LSPC, LSPS.
I'm just thinking, don't...
Please, Lagos State Police, please Lagos State's government, please take notes of Ayo's suggestions.
Well, it can also be for Gombe State.
No, it's
Gombe State, GSC. GSPS.
Yes, GSP. Oh, nice.
Right? So those are the thoughts that should come to head. I'm also looking forward to what the police stations will look like.
Yes.
Enough of comparing Nigeria with Dubai. Their police is fine.
Fine.
There are 2020 motto to do police work.
And then plus including robots to help them.
Abi? Wait. I'm waiting for the government that
the robots go on patrol, you know.
Right? But your road. Let's start from somewhere. Our menu.
Yes, our menu for the day.
It's a buffet, so...
Oh, state police dilemma.
Yeah, that's the first conversation we're having this morning. And then we should be talking about securing classrooms and school meals, whatever that is, find out in the course of time.
And Opportunity Lagos Conference 2026 is also
Lagos
up ahead.
and Opportunity. Anyway, lifestyle from balance to burnout. Or from burnout to balance. No, it's from burnout to balance. No, yes. You cannot balance and burnout. You can
it's
have
from burnout to balance.
Yes. Don't worry. It's the...
And then you could also have balance to burnout, because if you're not careful with the balancing, you can't burn out. And
okay, so from balance to burnout to balance. So
you want to avoid, yes, you want to avoid that. So, you know, there's never a right or wrong answer.
Idea. The artist of the week is... somebody that will come on air when that time comes.
Oh, come on.
In the meantime, do yourself a favor. Grab your cup of cocoa.
Or grab your cup of something.
Cocoa. Or this is Zerbo tea with a dash of honey.
See, selfish.
Oh, no, meat. I pray. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. As we said, it's a historic time. The much talked about state police thing was just a discussion, a conversation, an idea, an ideology that somebody had. You know, people made suggestions. The federal police system is struggling. You know, the country is too large for just one federal unit to be in control at the center. And so the conversation started, and it became bigger and wider and expanded. And today, we have the Senate, you know, passing the constitutional amendment bill to establish the state police, marking a major shift away from everything I just said. Really, I don't want to repeat myself. But,
yeah,
you know.
I think it's the steps are still there, right? The steps are still, you know, there. But the most important thing is the legal framework.
Yes.
And because it's a constitutional amendment, it still has to go to 36 states.
Yes.
And it is looking sure. Ask me why. APC has how many state governors? So as some people will say, CID, consider it done.
Oh my God. But why?
So, but then, as someone has told us, there's still many rivers to cross.
There will be.
Okay.
The person will still name the rivers.
Yes.
River Niger, River Benue, Nile River, all the rivers. Right. So, we have Mr. Leo Yebade, Deputy Inspector General of Police, retired Deputy Inspector General of Police, joining us in the studio this morning. Our friend, as always, thank you so much for joining us. So we also have Obafemi George, political scientist and policy analyst, joining us also in the studio. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure. Good morning.
I love your attire.
Thank you. Thank you.
And then we have Mr. Monday Ubani, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, who joins us virtually. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Right. So the obvious starting point will be the retired Deputy Inspector General of Police. Mr. Aleyo Yebade, is it an exciting time for you that, you know, you see the legal framework, you know, already in place to establish state police across the country?
Let me say it's with mixed feelings. A good one, because it's a good start. And the journey of 100 kilometers obviously starts with one step. So this is a right step in the right direction. I have said that there are so many rivers to cross. There are so many rivers to cross to get it right. And we cannot avoid basic issues that need to be addressed. Even if you go around and say state police or any police you call it, there are some basic issues to be addressed.
But you've always been an advocate of, should I say, decentralized or multi-layer.
But this is what they have done now.
Yeah.
Yes. My concept is what they have already brought up. I went for a hybrid. If you have followed me, I said there should be a hybrid where the federal police will coexist with the state police.
Of course.
And this is what they have done. I said it's a right step in the right direction, but there are still other things to do.
But then, we have a semblance of community policing.
The community.
We've had Amotekun, we've had different Kai and all those other community
Hisba and all of that.
Yes, all over the place.
Yes.
Ibibagu in the southeast.
That is where I am coming to.
Okay.
When we want to recruit now, we should not just absorb all of those people there. Because that's the problem with the police of today. Our recruitment have not been able to get the best of the best from the society. And the police job is not to be taken for just riffraffs. And you get what you give, garbage in, garbage out. That's what you get on the road. I remember the present Police Service Commission chairman. I was working under him in zone 5 in Benin. One day, he said one of his friends just called him that there is a nuisance in his house that he should come and join the police. So we should not raise down the standard. We should keep a standard.
Say that again.
I said,
So say that again. Called and said.
It was somebody who is not fit that I can use myself as an example. You know where I come from. We don't want our children to be in the police. So when I opted for the police, it was not that encouraged.
It was more.
I was not encouraged. So we need to change all of that. We need to streamline our system of recruitment and place a standard. Not that this list is from ML, so just give them. We must recruit as per the standard given by this new way we are doing.
Okay.
It is by then we can recruit, got job for our young ones, and then put the right peg in the right hole, and then get commissioners that can confront
We'll get to that point because there are some recommendations that have been made in that regard. But quickly, let me ask Mr. Obani before we come to Mr. George. Mr. Obani, I think it's now Dr. Obani, if I remember clearly.
That's correct.
Okay, so the legal framework is the basis, is the primary basis for this proposition that's been on for a very long time. There are those who have expanded the conversation of state police to part of the restructuring that Democrats have been asking for a very long time. But first of all, this step that has been taken, what are your thoughts? I know you have put up an article about it, but tell us, what are your thoughts about it? What are the concerns and particularly the legalese around it?
Yeah, thank you very much. As rightly pointed out, there is an ongoing legal framework. One is to constitutionalize the state police. Of course, you know that it has been a centralized policing system exclusively to the federal government. And so if you want to now create a state police, you must change the constitution that will allow the state, to be a participant in the entire process. So the constitutional amendment is what has just happened with the House of Reps and the Senate. And it still has to go to the 36 states. And then if they are able to muster 24 states in favor, then of course if you come back to the presidency for assent. The legal framework is very key. People have been saying it, especially on the issue of likelihood of abuse by the state governors. Mm-hmm. And so if a legal framework is not created, in such a manner that the guardrails, the issue of ensuring anti-abuse mechanisms are inserted, then the fears of the people who have been opposed to it will be justified. So we have several safeguards in order to ensure that the governors do not misuse the state police arrangement that is going to be put in place. And of course, the issue of strong institutions, the judiciary, and then the monitoring mechanism, even the interference at times with the federal government where there is an abuse or breakdown of law and order, or where the federal government suspects, that the policing system at the state level is being misused. The presidency intervenes and all that has been put in place. But the most important thing is in implementation. Yes. As your guests rightly pointed out, this is the first step. There are other steps that has to be taken in addition in order to actually guarantee lives, properties and lives, in Nigeria, which is very, very important, safety of lives and properties. But this step is very historic and it's very commendable. It is in line with proper federalism. That is the truth. We cannot operate this over-centralized policing system in a country that is very diverse as Nigeria, that is so big, and when we know that issue of security is very local. And so over years, there has been this serious advocacy that we have tried this over-centralized system for many years, and it's not working out. And then it's a madman that continues to do the same thing and expect a different result. So we're very happy that that first step has been taken in terms of the legal framework that has been created, but it's an implementation that we begin to see whether there are flaws. And if there are flaws, of course, we keep on amending the law in order to get it right. So the bold step that has been taken is very commendable. We cannot, because of the fact that the bush is very, very ominous, that the bush is very dangerous, there are dangerous animals, then we now stop hunting, because a lot of people keep on telling you why we should not do it because of abuse. And you can't keep on doing that, when over-centralized system of policing has not worked out. So this is a very commendable step, and I'm happy that we have done this in line with proper federalism. The most important step now is implementation and other steps we need to take in order to complement the effort of the state police.
Right, thank you. Mr. George, if I could come to you. Mr. Ibadi said something about there are still obstacles, that we need to cross, many rivers, as he put it, to cross. Dr. Ubani talked about, operating the proper federalism, which is, why the state police is a good thing. But even in crossing the rivers, we know what is expected at the other side, proper policing system and all that. At the federal system, we know where we have gotten to, even though we're trying to decentralize. Our forensics are getting better, our investigations are getting better. Nigerians always say if the police wants to work to make arrests, if they really want to do it, they will do it and get to the bottom of it. So in that, I don't know, do you think the states as at this time have the capacity or have, to build, have what it takes to build capacity of the kind of policing system to match and even, overtake what we have currently on ground? Because it's not easy to recruit and start training. I think it's like a begin-again situation. You have to recruit, and then you have to start training and start to suit your own particular environment. How do they get around to it? Like they say, a pregnant woman knows that at the end of 9 months, the baby is coming. So you have 9 months to prepare. Now that this legal framework is in place, there's time to prepare for the end result, isn't there?
Correct. To start with, I'm happy with what has happened. I've always argued that we copied America's presidential system of government, but we left out some key things that has made that democracy to thrive. It's going to be 250 years next week that have been practicing that democracy. And one of the things that we left out is, maybe some people can call it fiscal federalism, like a devolution of powers, but today's conversation, state police. America has federal, they have the FBI, they have state police, they have county police. And that's what helps them to a large extent, protect and secure that democracy. Because you can't secure democracy if you don't have a secured country. And I'm glad that this administration is doing things that I would consider legacy policies. Now, before state police came, I'm not sure this could have been proposed 3 years ago or 4 years ago, when states couldn't even, when they were borrowing to pay salaries, when 24 states couldn't meet up their monthly bill. But 2023, 2024, we saw, some rejigging of the tax system, revenue system. Now, states are earning 4 times what they used to earn. So today, there's no state that can say that, they can't afford to create a state police. because we've seen increase in what is coming into their pocket, even local government.
But there will be arguments about that, Mr. George. Here is why.
Yes.
They have been getting more than 200% for how many years now? About 2 years? The electricity bill, has given powers to the states to generate electricity. I'm not sure we're getting the kind of momentum we should be getting. Not even as much as a hush.
No, we have. So let me say that. So when that bill was passed in 2023, between 2023 and last year, 15 states have passed that bill. They've set up their own electricity regulatory commission. This year, about a month ago, Benue just passed their own bill. They've just created their own electricity regulatory commission. And that's the starting point. As at last time I checked, about almost 50 licenses have been issued, for independent power producers to generate, transmit, and distribute power. So, again, I say no state can complain that they cannot fund state police. They can't. Joke, look at the figures. 2023. As at April 2023, FARC shared maybe 740 billion naira. That's what the 3 tiers of government shared. Last month, they shared over 2 trillion. That's almost 4 times. I know an LCDA chairman that got 1 billion. A local government that used to get like 200 million. So they can't complain that they cannot fund state police. And like you rightly said, a pregnant woman knows that in 9 months' time, she's going to give birth. So it's not at the 9th month you start asking for money. Mr. Makinde, can you send me some money? My wife is about to deliver. No, they've seen this coming. And that's why all of them, because prior to this time, there's always been dissenting voices. Some will be in support, some will be against. But now everybody is in support. The Governors Forum in support. When the bill was passed on Thursday, the 37 House of Assemblies came out and said they are in support. 36 rather. So which means that by the time this bill gets to the state, it's going to be an easy passage. And beyond that, the security situation in the country, compels any reasonable person to say, you know what, it's an idea whose time has come. It might not be perfect. Yes. And I always say from the policy standpoint, you cannot sit down and draft a perfect policy. It is when you get to the implementation stage that there will be feedback. But however, then you go back to the drawing board and begin to correct some things.
One of the challenges, and Mr. Ibade has been, forthright about that for years. One of the challenges that we have seen is, first of all, are we even aware what the problem of insecurity is? Because what has necessitated this state police, argument is increase in crimes and almost difficult, which is almost difficult, if not impossible, to track. Over the years, things happen in areas that they shouldn't be happening. Now, there are those who point to governance. There are those who point to poverty, point to unemployment and all those things. If those, and I remember while he was still in service, General Musa, the current Minister of Defense, said it. We can play our parts. We can, do what we are supposed to do constitutionally. But there is something that fuels insecurity. Good governance will decrease it. Bad governance will make it worse. Poverty will make it worse. Unemployment will make it worse. It's not an excuse. It's just the way it is, and it's a historic fact. So how do you see that helping? Because it is one thing to set up a police system. It's another thing altogether to ensure that people feel safe when, they can feed well, they can take care of things, about their families. How about that?
So, you can't use Panadol to cure cancer and also cure hemorrhage and cure blood clotting. So, there's always a specific solution to a specific problem. Now, state police addresses some fundamental issues. Every Nigerian now quotes Section 14 of our Constitution. Oh, the welfare and the security of the people shall be the responsibility of the government. And I challenge people that part of the Constitution that says the government, do we realize that it also talks to state government and local government? We all call our governors chief security officers of the state. But we keep forgetting that Section 215, subsection 2, where we coined that word from, places responsibility of the governor to ensure public safety and public order. And that law says that they'll do so by instructing the commissioner of police, who is not answerable to him. So, and I'm sure DIG can speak to that. So how do you, on one hand, give a governor a responsibility to ensure public safety and public order, and yet the instrument to make that happen is not within his control? You have the commissioner of police who is answerable to an IG in Abuja. And we've seen that being issues in so many cases. If you, I've read the crisis in Jaws, I've studied the crisis in Jaws over the past 40 years. And one of the issues that was pointed out, specifically in 2002, when we had that major crisis, was that the commissioner of police was complicit. And when he faced Nikki Toby's panel, he said, well, I mean, he was taking orders from Abuja. And that's one of the major things this would cure. This is not a magic wand. So we're not going to wake up tomorrow morning that because we created state police, then all of a sudden, all our insecurity issues will vanish. The answer is no.
Okay. On that same law, my apologies, Mr. Ibadi, I'm coming to you on the same issue that I'm raising now. The welfare and security, you said. That welfare. And I think the people who wrote the Constitution thought it through. Welfare before security. If we don't have welfare, we will have insecurity. That's the way it is sounding. It is that welfare that I'm asking about. How do we ensure that the governors, I mean, you rightly put it, I say the same thing all the time. How can you say federal government and the state governments will give them a slap on the wrist? No. So how do we, what is there a system that you think can, because the state police law is one thing.
Yes.
There are other enablers.
Correct.
To make it all work. And I think this
So one of the things that I feel that would also curb insecurity is education. And why do I say education? If you look at what we are confronted today in Nigeria, this issue of banditry and kidnapping, each time I watch the news and I see those bandits, they are young people, young boys, 18, 19, 20, 21. So, Mr. Makinde, the question is, how did they become bandits? And I'm coming to your, I'm trying to dovetail into your question. In sociology, they taught us in school in those days that it takes 18 years to raise a responsible citizen. It also takes 18 years to raise an irresponsible citizen. What do I mean by that? A child that you did not send to school at the age of 3, 4, 5, 6, that's a bandit 15 years down the line waiting. You know, presently they say Nigeria ranks number 4, I mean, on the terror list. And I read the report, and that report says that, because 700 people were killed, blah, 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 blah. Now, when you link that to out-of-school children, which today we put at almost 20 million, that report also says that over 10 million are primary school age, between the ages of 4 and 10, and that about 8-point-something million are within secondary school going age, between the ages of 10 and 14. So what that tells me is that if we deal with illiteracy today,
we'll deal with...
indirectly, we are dealing with insecurity 15, 20 years down the line.
Exactly my point. Well, Mr. Ibadi, in the law that set up the police, not the Constitution, the number 1 function of the police is crime prevention, not fighting.
Not fighting crime, yes.
So, in terms of training, and you've expressed your concern about recruitment and all, what are the must-dos in that regard, so that the policeman in Kano or in Jigawa doesn't see himself, first of all, as setting a trap for a criminal to catch the fellow, as opposed to preventing that crime from happening?
Now, what is needed for a policeman to effectively perform? The equipments. If the equipments are not there, it's like a farmer.
What kind of equipment?
Good. Patrol vehicles, and in recent times, drones, and higher intelligence networking. And these things are basics that I've been talking about. The gradual death of the Nigeria police was caused by the extraction of the E department of the Nigeria police, and that was the powerhouse of the Nigeria police, the intelligence house, and it was given to NSO then, from NSO to whatever we call it now. So the intelligence networking must be upgraded. Intentional acts must be made in that direction. Equipment, how do our policemen go outside the country and perform well and come back with accolades and laurels and don't perform? It's a systemic problem. There must be direct accountability, directly budget. This is Division A, Division B, direct budget to that division, and specifically for provision of the needs in that division. No division has any money to perform. That's why when you get there, they ask you to bring money to buy papers. So if that divisional headquarters have money to procure all the equipments the station needs, including fueling, including money to mobilize and go on an assignment, including money for the policeman to go outside Lagos to go and arrest somebody in Maiduguri, he must be given touring advance. I still collected touring advance when I was in the police. As DPO Ilubeju, I have information money. I have information money I can give to people to get information for me. All those things are not there. So that's why I said when you go around all this English we are talking about, all this drama, we still need to address these basics. Provision of the base. Why do the firefighters enter the 9/11 building, believing that some of them, far away, believe that they might not come back alive, but they know that their children will not suffer? Do we insure our policemen? When they die on duty, in the course of duty,
those are the must do's for the states.
Must do, and he was talking about, complicity of the commissioner of police. You have questioned me on that. We should not be talking of this type of thing. That commissioner of police should be called to address it. I was commissioner of police. You don't give me order from anywhere. And that's why we are talking of integrity for whoever is going to be on the seat. So if a commissioner of police is docile and be ready to give up, then it's left for him. So I think what we should do now is get the basics ready. If not, we'll be going around. Let's get the basics. The government have provided, there is a key provision in this bill that the federal government will provide some funding. But again, sustainability. How do we sustain it? If they provide the initials.
I don't think what Mr. George said.
Let's get to the field before we know it. The governors, you know them.
Obviously,
there must be priority. If priority is given to security, and even now that we are talking, how many of them are giving support to the Nigerian police? Instead, we are dividing the power of the police every day. The ones you are giving to others, are they better than the police today? You still go to the road, they still do worse things.
There are those who have expressed concern about the foundational staff of the police in any state. There are those who have expressed concern that the current crop of policemen might not be right. We'll come back to that in a moment. But you wanted to take Mr. Obani up.
Yes, I wanted to. Mr. Obani, thank you for being patient enough. This is a very robust conversation. Mr. Obani he's closing out statement. Well, not entirely closing out statement. He's saying, you know the governors. Yes, we do know our governors. How do you think we can prevent a weaponization of the state's police system? Just now we were talking about the law or the constitution that says that the welfare and security of the people resides with the chief security officer of the state, who has just to instruct the commissioner of police, who is answerable to the IG, who is in Abuja. So now that the state governors will be responsible and to appoint the commissioners once this, eventually comes into effect. How do we prevent this weaponization of, the police system in individual states? That's on one part. The second is, how do we prevent or sort out jurisdiction issues, within the system, even across states and even at the federal system, because the federal police will still be in place. They'll be working hand in hand.
Yeah, that is a very intelligent question. The issue of weaponization, and which has been the fears, the suspicion of those who have been initially opposed to, the idea of state policing, and they are still, even when they the news hit us that the Senate has actually concurred with the House of Reps. There are those who are still expressing high level of fears. That fear is not without foundation. But the truth of the matter is that not every governor in Nigeria will be a madman. We have state high courts, and we have never seen state high courts, being used, wrongly in such manner, to really oppress opposition. Those who have been elected again, who are they? We're the ones who have elected. So if you choose to elect a madman to be your governor, who now misuses the police powers, that will be given to him, then that is absolutely your problem. So you begin to elect those who will actually go there in order to exhibit a high level of responsibility, because power means responsibility. If I'm given power, the intelligence of my usage of that power is the way I will use that power in order to, make people happy, in order to ensure that the right thing is done in my state, in order even to create a sense of competition. Because if I'm doing it rightly, they say, go and see, look at what my governor is doing. I'm from Abia, and I'm very proud that I have a very good governor who today has become a sign-on-show, who has become an example of what good governance should be in every state. And so if a governor is really using the power that he has with police, in a very matured manner, in a very responsible manner, in a very effective manner, in a manner that shows integrity, everyone will want to copy such a state, and say, go and see what the governor is doing, even with the state police, So there's going to be a sense of competition. Let's not be so pessimistic about the entire thing and, begin to look at the negative side. There will be a positive side. And when other governors begin to utilize the state police, this power that has been given to them in a responsible manner, every other person will want to copy what those governors are doing with regards to policing and state policing that we have just created. That is one thing I want to say. Now, there was this question, let me even answer about this issue of standard. There is a standard created in the law. Before you begin to operate a state police, there is a minimum standard. If you don't meet that minimum standard, you probably want to remain with the federal policing system. It's there in the law. So if you are not capable, if you don't have the finance, if you don't have the recruitment arrangement that will bring in the professionals, to be a police officer in your state, hold on. Begin to manage the federal police until you find yourself worthy of that particular venture or enterprise that the law has created. It's very important we point out that. Then on issue of state border, interstate issues and all that, even in America where we copy, which is one of what your guest is saying, they have FBI, they have state police. They even have, a policing arrangement at the university level. It's as good as that. That's what they do. And that's why security is very important. For us to localize and decentralize this system, not over-centralizing the entire thing. Let's have policing system at the local government level. I did an article recently after the Senate passed this law, and I said, in addition to state policing, we must have a functional local government. Ayo, we have talked about it several times. If you don't have a functional local government, no matter your state policing system you have created, you are still going to have a problem. If you have a state policing arrangement, you don't create employment opportunities. You don't run an economic system that will benefit the people and make them to be less prone to crime. They will not want to go into crime. They have business they're doing. They are working from morning to night. They are thinking about how to go to work tomorrow, not planning how to go and commit crime. There is a particular country in Europe that they are shutting down their prison system. They are shutting down the entire prison because there are no criminals anymore. Why? Because the people are giving the people good governance. At the same time, their institutions are working. If you commit any crime, they catch you. You cannot escape it and all that. So you put all this into place. State policing alone cannot solve insecurity problem in Nigeria. And that is what all your guests are saying. And I agree with them. But you must take into cognizance economic issue, deal with it, create employment. You must take into cognizance the issue of local government. It must function, deal with it. You must take into cognizance the issue of education, educate the people and make them to be worthy, have a job they are doing. That is very important. We must also insist on electing good men and women to run the state, who will not be mentally deranged to now misuse and weaponize the policing system, to operate the opponents and all that. So by the time you put all this into account, I can assure you that one of the best things that has happened to Nigeria is this state police creation, which we have done. But in addition, let's deal with other issues that will help us to succeed, in our security fight. That is my take.
Okay. Well, Mr. George, I want to come to you, Mr. Yobadi, about the recruitment thing again. But Mr. George, I hear you laughing when we started. Dr. Yobadi was talking about employing deranged people.
And mad people.
Because that is the responsibility of the citizen. From as low as the councillor. In this republic, well, things are probably getting a bit better now, but in this republic, we've had a councillor go from absolute nothing to billionaire overnight. And then there was no money. Now,
that there's money.
that they go a lot. So, I don't know what your thoughts are about how the people also police the police. Because I think that's one of the things that has been missing. Holding government to account. When we talk about holding government to account, we think it's just the governor or the elected person. Even anyone who is appointed, the people have a responsibility to hold them to account. The taxpayer pays the salary of the policeman, and sometimes just simply because they have some opportunities, they allow themselves to be harassed and all. So what are the mechanisms you think the state houses of assembly must consider so that the people can be a part of the process and make that system work?
So, democracy grows and thrives when there is high level of literacy and thriving economy. When you have a high level of illiteracy and poverty, it negatively affects your democracy. I'm one of those who sees our democracy as being full. 27 years. We're not where we want to be, but we're also not where we used to be. And I caution Nigerians when they compare Nigeria with Britain or Nigeria with America. I mean, like I said, next week, America is going to be 250 years of practicing democracy. We are just 26 years. That's 10%. So you need to let people realize that it's work in progress. And the more people become literate, the more people become enlightened, the more people are empowered economically, the stronger our democracy is. So people come to realize that we have an African culture, which I think we have imported into democracy. It is in our culture that when someone is in position of authority, we see him as a kabiesi, as a king. I can't question you. I can't challenge you. I can't interrogate what you're doing. And we've brought that into democracy. So when we elect people into offices, we see them from that perspective. I cannot challenge my honorable. I cannot question my honorable. And that is adversely affecting our democracy. But you can tie that to illiteracy and poverty. So as people get more enlightened, people become more confident, and we begin to hold leaders more accountable. We begin to interrogate what they do the more. And you see, it's not going to happen overnight. I've taken our time to study democratic process all over the world. They didn't get there overnight. It took them a long time. I'm not sitting here to say that it's also going to take Nigeria 250 years, or it's going to take us another 400 years. Like, no, that's not what I'm saying. But it's work in progress. Where we are, I repeat, we're not where we want to be, but we're also not where we used to be.
Now, you've talked about education and all those things. It's also part of the function of every level or tier of government, including state governments and local governments. So if the government wants people, whichever government wants people to remain where they are, you are telling them that all they have to do is withdraw education.
And which is what has been done over the years. It's now that we're beginning to see an improvement in educational system.
So how do we compel? That's the question here, sir. How do we compel that thing to happen? Because there's a lot of keeping quiet.
So in every society, there's a group you call the intelligentsia, that is the enlightened ones, that shapes the thought process of a society. Now, they are the ones that educate voters to say, you know what, when you're going to vote, this is why you should vote. You shouldn't vote for Mr. Makinde because Mr. Makinde is from my village. The question should be, what will Mr. Makinde do? And what is promising to do, how is that tied to me?
Yeah.
How is that tied to my welfare and the welfare of my children? Now, let me give you two classic examples. I was reading a report this week that for the first time, in a long time, that public universities in Nigeria have actually made it to the Times Higher Education World Ranking. First time. And you could see a connection between investment in education and that sudden ranking. Because that report says only government universities have been on that ranking for years. But 2026, UNILAG made it to that ranking, University of Ibadan made it to that ranking, Ahmadu Bello University. So you can see that, there's an improvement in educational system. Why? Because there's an investment educational system. Again, I give an example. I also read a report that says that this year, Kano State is spending, they've actually allocated 30% of their budget to education. About 430 billion naira. They've employed about 18,000 teachers. So that's where it starts from. But you see, unfortunately for politicians, when you invest in education, you can't use it to brag in your next election cycle because it takes a while before you see the result and the impact, which is why most politicians really don't invest. They rather build roads that I can come back to in 3 years' time and say, DIG, see, I've tarred the road to your village. Rather than invest in education that you won't see the result until 10, 15 years' time. So this comes back to the intelligentsia, which comes back to even journalists. That's why they refer to your profession as the fourth estate of the realm.
Yes, we are the fourth arm of government.
Yes, to educate people, to enlighten them.
And let them be aware of their powers.
Of their powers.
Okay.
And the reason why they should choose certain leaders and not, like Mr. Obadi said, not choose mentally deranged people.
Well, Mr. Ibade, first of all, tell us, what percentage of the population should make up the police? I think I used to hear, is it 5%?
The time we had it, unless we check what has been given, 1 to 40 or 1 to 400 sometimes ago.
I think it was 1 to 400.
But do you know what counts now?
UN said 1 to 4.
You know what counts more now? Yeah. It's not the number. Yeah. It's about the technology that you are using.
No, I'm coming somewhere. So if we have, say, 1 to 400, that means Lagos, if we divide 400, we had 20 million by 400. That's quite a number. Yeah. So if we are looking, that means that Lagos should be looking at something in the region of 200. 200 is what percentage of 2 million?
And mind you,
the reason I'm asking is, if Lagos has to employ, for instance, that Lagos has to have, say, 100,000 or 200,000 policemen
to be
recruited within the state, because it's about 20 million population, and every state in Nigeria is expected to do the same. What are the must-dos?
Good. The fish rots from the head is a Chinese saying. When you want to buy a fish, my sister, you go and look at the head. If the head is good, the fish is good. It means that the leadership must be taken seriously. So you start recruitment from getting a commissioner of police that has integrity, that has a name to protect. That's why I've been talking each time. Well, if you have your integrity, you are ready to say, I'm going. Let me hold my integrity and let every other thing remain. Now, we must look at the integrity of the police officers that are coming in. We must look at the standard. That's why the implementation now. We are now at the implementation stage. The implementation must take cognizance of not this list is from so political associates.
Do you think we can ever avoid that?
We can get there. And he has said it.
One king somewhere.
No, let me say this. Until we are going to implement it, until when the commissioner of police stands to say, Governor, I'm not going to do this, then we are getting it right. And it's going to happen. Because the provision will be there to back him. You're asking him to do something that is ultra-vires to the law, and he stands to say, I cannot do it. But there are others that will do it. So that's why the fish rots from the head, is what I'm saying. So you get people that are competent and are ready to stand and say, I cannot do it. So the recruitment must be perfect. We must not bring down the standard, the height, the educational, whatever, the health. When I joined the police, they check us up to our sport room, whether it is true. And we ran, we jumped. It was not any, and it was highly competitive. 5 from 19 states. Not now. Emma, we just bring a list, whether the man have one eye and is in the police. So you see a policeman with one leg like this. So we don't bring the standard down. When you have the standard, then you interview them. Do you really want to do the job? So, you must be a person who has passion to do the job.
Okay, so you've frequently spoken about technology.
Right.
And Mr. George has repeatedly also spoken about
we need that.
Education. And Mr. Obani has also talked about the parameters for setting up the system and all of those things. This technology thing, I wanted to ask you the other time about, will they be bringing police from the federal to the states first? The reason is, some people might say, it's the same people that we had a problem with that you're bringing in. I think the same thing happened in another particular sector when you bring, because you now democratized, so to speak, you now say that the states must have their own, you bring from the federal into the state and you mess up the foundation. So those thoughts are also still there.
The provision says very clearly that each state is going to have its own police service commission. So it is the pronouncement, just like it has been identified earlier. It is when you are prepared to have it that you have it. So you don't have to rush into it. The fact that state A has gone to state policing does not mean state B must go. When you are ready, there must be a pronouncement by the state assembly. Police Service Commission for that state is established to perform. And then you set up every other thing you need. It is at that stage that you talk about even the technology. Technology cannot be used in isolation. It has to go with intelligence. And that is why the character that are going to perform the job are the key components. Sharing of information that have been a problem up till tomorrow. Sharing of intelligence between security agencies. These are the core things that I said should be addressed that have not been addressed. That we have to go around again and come back to them. The federal will not work in isolation, with the state. If the state fails, do you know that this provision says that the federal can still come in and take over? Yeah. So there must be the link, the contact, the interaction, the sharing of information and intelligence vertically and horizontally. Okay. These are the basics.
Sorry, are we going to do sharing of personnel as well? Because I wonder how the recruitment will take place. Is there a recruitment
Those
pool
ones that are there now,
right?
Then they will also come for recruitment. So they have to come to the table. Who comes to Equity must come with clean hands. So they must subject themselves
to the same process. All right, Mr. Obani, I beg your pardon, Dr. Obani, the issue being raised here now is this whole idea of safety parameters. Yeah. I asked Mr. George the other time, how do we bring the people in to ensure that their own activities, their own intervention also helps to sustain the system. What would be your recommendation, particularly to the state houses of assembly, when they are making their own, first of all, passing this, to be included in the Constitution, and then when they are making their own police service commissions, setting up their own police service commissions by law, what are the things that you would recommend should be seriously considered and factored in so that the people are part of the process?
Yes. Thank you. I will recommend to the state or the houses of assembly Of course, in passage of the law, the issue of the State Service Police Commission is very important. What is the composition of that particular body? The composition of that body will go a long way. Institutional framework is key. If you have independent-minded individuals, that will be involved in the recruitment process, it's very, very important in the discipline and even dismissal of the Commissioner of Police. Now, the State House of Assembly also, they have a role to play, because whoever is being employed as Commissioner of Police must receive the approval of the State House of Assembly. And even when you want to remove that State Commissioner of Police, you still have to require two-thirds majority of the State House of Assembly. So in enacting that law, they must be very, very careful in providing those safety guards, that will really help, reducing the fear of issue of abuse. That is very key. Then the recruitment also, professionals, and then training. The former police officer that is there says something that in his own time, there is a budget even for his own office as a DPO. But now we don't have any budget even to state command and all that. To the zones and all that, let alone to DPOs and all that. So there must be a proper budgeting for every police station, every police unit. Maybe this particular arrangement now will create that opportunity for every unit to be properly funded. There is no way you can set up a police system and without funding it. You are just recruiting armed robbers to go to the road, and go to the houses and begin to rob, because you have not made money available to them. So one thing is that you must provide good budgeting. And so the law must take care of budgeting. How do they get their money? The law must take care of the issue of recruitment. The law must take care of the training processes. They must be trained and retrained. Those who were employed in the 60s were taken to England for proper training. And that's why we had a policing system that was almost perfect before the white men left. So why can't we go back to that? So it's issue of systemic problem we have. This policeman that is there has said it. Our policemen leave Nigerian soil and go to other countries, to perform national duty or international duty. And they are given laurel, they are given awards. Why are they excelling abroad? And when coming to the system here, they're not doing well. It's because of the issue of environment. So provide that conducive environment. And that's why I say this is a very good thing, because every state now, we enter into competition. It's going to be competition. Every state will want to have the best policing system. Other states now will begin to emulate. I will want even my state to start, Abia to be the sinosure, the starting point. A particular state that everyone begin to copy. This is how to run policing system, state policing system. Are you aware that we are also trying to get our own independent power now? They are buying over from Disco and making sure all the local government now have uninterrupted lighting system in Abia. So you see, it's going to create competition, and that is the truth of the matter. And when you have a good governor who knows his responsibility, who knows his own, and know the reason why he was elected, he will be able to now begin to use the policing system in order to secure lives and property, including the lives of his enemies, including the lives of his opponents.
Dr. Bani, you have still not spoken to how the people can be a part of the process. The people, the populace, the communities, people in the communities. Maybe I should put it this way. There is a police community relations committee, PCRC, that's been active over the years. Do you see a role for them in this scheme of things?
Let me tell you, the law will take care of all that. In my recommendation, I talk about the local government playing a very big role. The people are the local government, because security is local. The people in the local government has a role to play. The chiefs in the local government have a role to, I'm talking about the essays and all that, have a role to play. So it is for every state to look at the peculiarity of their state and reflect it in their law. That is why this particular arrangement is very good. They allow you to go and create your own law, make your own law at the state level. Now, in making your own law, you take into cognizance your peculiarity, your security peculiarity. What and what are you going to add? What and what was not at the federal level that you want to now add in your own state? It's the peculiarity of your state that will determine all the measures you will put in place. And let me tell you, that law must be made in such a manner that the input of the citizens also must be allowed. Because the citizen will come and say, okay, why don't you do this? Why don't you do, due to this peculiarity of our situation, do this and all that. So the law will be made by those representatives representing the people in the first place. In making that law, the people also have an input when it comes to a stage of the law. In the lawmaking process, there is issue of allowing people to come and make suggestions and all that. So that is that input of the people must be there. Their representative will be there to make the law. You are coming in to make more suggestions during the law-making process. And then the issue of taking into cognizance the peculiarity of your state and the security need of your state must be reflected in the law you are making. That is how the input of the people will be actually taken care of. You know, it's very important that the people play a major role in making that particular law, that we address their peculiarity needs, their peculiarity, security situation. That is what I think where the people will come into the entire process.
Okay, I think everybody wants to say something about
right.
it.
You see, I still believe that if you look at what has made our governors to really wake up, when you look at the IGR recently, I saw a platform where they started rating them, and that made them to really rise up. I saw that Enugu was rated as #1 recently or somehow. So if we have a portal, the state should develop a portal where contributions must come from the populace on how the state police is reacting. How are they effective? How are they reacting? What is the response time? If all those are put in place, the inputs from the members of the public will also be a yardstick to measure the success or the otherwise of the state police in that particular place. Right. While community policing is ongoing at that local level, let there be opportunity for the local farmer to be able to say, in my area, this is what is happening. This is what happened and this is what I have. So the community must be given the opportunity to have a feedback system that it will regulate and be able to give us a kind of scorecard to know how the state police is functioning well.
Okay.
Right, and thank you. So let's look at, the existing security infrastructure in place in many states. Chamber in Anambra State, you have Amatekun operating parts of the southwest. Legalizing or, finally creating state police, is this kind of legalizing what's already on ground, or do we think would they exist side by side, or how are we going to sort out who does what?
So I've not read the bill. I mean, I asked someone yesterday to send me because I wanted to study to see, the framework that's in that proposal. One thing I think you cannot rule out is that those states, those governors will absorb some of those people into the state police. I don't think there's any way we can stop that, because those are the people that have been providing security that has been complementing either the federal police or the federal army. All of us have witnessed, in the past perhaps 1 year, that when this bandit issue happens, some of this security architecture have actually helped the Nigerian army or the Nigerian police to rescue people. Why? Because they are locals. Like DIG rightly said, security is also local. The Soil police is local. Security is local. If I was born and bred in Isheri, I will know this place in and out more than you that came from VI. So there's no way you can rule out absorbing the current, makeshift security architecture you have in different states into the state police that's going to be created. What I expect to be done is that there should be a benchmark. Who can come in, who cannot come in. And what I also think will happen eventually, is that it's going to be very competitive. Good. It's going to be very competitive. And I also expect a situation where I saw a summary that says that, one of the provisions in that bill is that the State Commissioner of Police cannot serve more than a single term of 4 years.
Okay.
Which is, for me, is very good. Because you know what that does? It means that to a large extent, a governor can really not politicize it. Because the state police commissioner doesn't have a second term to protect, to work for. He's only there for a single term of 4 years. So a governor cannot to a large extent, cannot turn him into a political tool. I hope that makes it through the bill eventually. I hope that doesn't, miss out by the time, it gets back to the president and he has sent to the bill. So, but like I said earlier on, we cannot sit down here and have a perfect policy. It's when we get to the implementation stage and we begin to see feedback, they will now begin to correct. That's why even Constitution have amendment. So it's at that point we now begin to correct some things.
Okay.
We really cannot, completely dissect it now at this point.
What, in your opinion, are the things that can help people to begin to trust the police, whether state or federal? Because some of them even wear sandals, So what are the things that you think can begin to let people say, okay, I got a bit of confidence in this fellow?
It's going to take a while. That trust have been seriously eroded. And you cannot blame the police. You can't, especially when you have some as friends and you hear what they've been through. I mean, you visit police barracks and you see how they live. And in your conscience, you know that nobody can come out of this environment, get on the street, and not be hungry at a jockey who is clean and driving it. He or she will take out the anger on you. So, before we blame them, I first of all want to see an increase in welfare. Because you can't, like they say, you can't pay someone, if you pay someone peanut, you get a monkey as an employee. The welfare system, and I hope the states, what I hope to see with this state police is that let the state correct the anomalies we've seen with the federal police right from the onset. Because there's what you call a DNA of an abuser. At the starting point,
I am hoping for that. Because even now,
yes,
so everybody will tell you, civil servants are getting, they are getting their salaries. But as they say, does your take home, does it even take you to the bus stop? So, I don't know if you want to look at the issue from that perspective as well, because definitely, as the Yorubas say, you are addressed based on the way you're dressed. So, if they look the way they always look, we will see them the way we always see them.
No, like I said, it's going to be competitive.
Okay.
When the current, Lagos State have Lagos State Security Trust Fund.
Yeah.
The DG told us a couple of years ago that it cost 3 million naira to kit a police. I don't know what makes up all of that, but he said, according to him, that it takes 3 million naira to fully kit up a police. What that means is that when you now have state police, a state like Lagos State will want to demonstrate that this is the center of excellence. They will want to communicate to the man on the street and to the other 35 governors that our police system is a standard. So from the appearance, from the cars they drive, I'm sure you've been to Dubai and you've seen policemen driving Bugatti.
Yeah.
Oh yes. So you will think twice before you address that policeman. His appearance and the car he comes with alone, it has already arrested you before it even arrest you. So that's what you're going to see now with the state governors. They would want, annoying politicians, they would want to make a statement.
So long as it's something people can see.
So that is something people can see and they can use it to campaign for the next election. So you can be rest assured that welfare will be taken care of. Packaging, the way policeman looks, his dressing, the car, everything. Let's just wait and see.
Okay, but you're already in competition with Dr. Obani because he's already saying that Abia State has to come first.
Your governor was in Lagos 2 weeks ago to Lagos.
Dr. Obani, your closing comments on this issue before we go.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's a very lively conversation, Ayo. As rightly pointed out, there's going to be a competition. You remember in the 60s, there was this competition, cocoa, granite, and of course, palm oil in the southeast. So I see that reflected in the new arrangement. So it's something that we should be very, very happy about. But the most important thing is that in addition to state policing, let the government also think towards the issue of improving the economic lifestyles of Nigerians, talk about good education, and then ensure that they will have a functional local government. When we do all that and create a conducive environment for the policemen to work with proper budgeting, we'll be getting there. I'm very hopeful about this country, and I know that very soon this country will really be a country destination point for others who want to come in here.
Well, Mr. Ibade, your closing comment has to come in this question. Do you see this state police arrangement evolving into a regional system?
It depends on the way you look at it. the crime in Nigeria also, when you crime map Nigeria, you can see a crime pattern in the southwest, you can see a crime pattern in the north. So it will become like cooperation and coordination between states. So you cannot rule out regional cooperation.
Okay. Your closing comments, Mr. George.
My closing comment is a prayer. The prayer that this bill would have a portion inserted into it that would constitutionally stipulate what percentage of a state government annual budget must go to fund this police. Whether it's going to be 2% of the IGR or 5% or whatever, there must be, I want that to be part of the bill, whereby, so that the issue of one governor coming in and not funding the police that the previous governor started won't come up. That's my closing prayer.
Okay, I say amen, because even the local government law that says that they must contribute money into state joint local government accounts.
This means that state budgets would increase. When you say break down the budget, this one will go to security. That one will go to...
I say amen. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for being here this morning. Mr. Obafemi George is a political scientist and policy analyst. We've also had Dr. Monday Ubani, senior advocate of Nigeria, joined us virtually, as well as Mr. Leye Oyebade, retired Deputy Inspector General of Police, whose prayer has finally been answered. Yeah. Thank you very much for your time this morning. We'll return in a moment. Do stay with us.
Welcome back. Be truthful, who was dancing there to Simi's song? Like, it's a prayer. It's a prayer song. And I loved it.
Aww.
Right. Opportunity Lagos Conference 2026 is our next conversation. The conference is designed to position Lagos as Africa's leading destination for tourism, investment, enterprise, hospitality, culture, and global lifestyle experiences. And that's, something that the Lagos state government has been championing. Well, not just its present administration, but, various governments that have been, coming and going. The event will bring together government leaders, business executives, investors, tourism stakeholders, development institutions, diplomatic representatives, and international partners to explore opportunities and initiatives that will strengthen Lagos' global competitiveness. And so it's always a partnership between the government and the private sector. So the Pan-African Chairman, Nigerian British Business Forum, Afolabi Andu, joins us now online, virtually, to talk about this. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much for having me. It's a great pleasure to be with you this morning.
Right. So tell us, what specific bottlenecks or recent economic shifts in Nigeria trigger the urgent need to host the Opportunity Conference right at this time?
Well, I think what we need to take cognizance of really is aspects relating to visitors' experience when they come into an iconic city like Lagos. And over the past few years, of course, we know that there have been significant events that would normally take place between the month of November and December, what the young ones describe as the Dirty December. And as a result of this event, it has significantly helped to boost the local economy, largely in Lagos. But one of the drawbacks that keeps coming back post the experience during this particular period are those bottlenecks. So challenges with experience through their traveling into the city via the airport, as they are in the city, the various challenges they experience even in their hotels, arbitral prices, factors relating to security, and a number of other impinging issues that really and truly impacts negatively on visitors' experience. And that was the reason why, by virtue of the information that kept coming on to us, we felt the need to host an event of this nature, where stakeholders will come together in the different sectors, from healthcare, security, restaurant business, hospitality, and discuss extensively, and ultimately come up with a charter of sort, agreeing to look at those bottlenecks and how they can effectively resolve those challenges. So that is the reason why we are hosting the Opportunity Lagos Conference this Tuesday at the Lagos Marriott.
Right. In my opening statement, I did, talk about the Lagos state government also championing a cause such as this to expand investment opportunities in the state. But of course, we do know that they always work with the private sector and, non-government organizations such as yourself. So, how does what involvement or what role is the government going to play in this, in helping to ensure that this cause that you're championing is actually, is good and it attracts the people it's supposed to attract? Of course, going by the fact that you also have your investment populace that you're attracting as well.
Well, I think it's very important to, first of all, recognize the phenomenal work that Lagos State have already put in place towards visitors' experience. In terms of transportation, we know that the waterways are fully functional. Security measure has also been increased in terms of the architectural infrastructure, and a whole lot of other amazing work that the state, led by His Excellency Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has really pursued. Most recently, they held the Invest Lagos conference, the ECO convention, and it was just an incredible eye-opener, celebrating the amazing work that has happened there. So it's not an issue restricted to just government. So we have a constituency, and our constituency largely are Nigerians abroad. And when we are constantly being called to support in terms of addressing those issues, it becomes a form of responsibility. And that is the reason why we are pursuing this particular program. Reach out wise. Yes, of course, we have reached out to the state government, and we believe that the Commissioner for Tourism would be speaking at the event. So there is that collaboration that we are, in effect, working in alliance with the government.
And, we have often frequently mentioned that Lagos, must compete with cities like Dubai, Kigali, Johannesburg, and many other great cities, around the world. What core practices do you think, Lagos should adopt to actually close the gap so that, that comparison is actually competitive?
So you really cannot get away from the partnership of public sector and private sector.
Yeah.
Now, the private sector, they drive the economy. For them, it's all about the business. It's all business. Government's role is policy, enabling policies that will support drive of investors. And in that happening, definitely key factors that we'll be addressing on Tuesday have got to be highlighted on the agenda. Aspects relating to the first responders on the healthcare side of things. So just to give you an example, for instance, now a visitor who has never been to Nigeria comes into Lagos, simply based on an invitation by a friend who says, let's go and have some wonderful time over the Christmas period in Lagos. And sadly, my having experienced some health issues. How do they handle that situation at that point in time? These are factors that must be brought to the front burner in terms of vigorously addressing. They are factors that can impinge on visitors' confidence in terms of their interest in a particular geographical terrain. Same thing applies to navigation around the city. So from your hotel room, you can go to the reception area, pick up, where you have the visitor guide stand. You can pick up a leaflet that will show you different locations, places of interest that you can visit, and you wouldn't even need to think about it. So because it's already in place. You get out of your hotel, you can pick up a bus from wherever you're staying because it's all well defined. So it's about the framework, it's about the integration of all the different sectors. Just like I said earlier on, there is no question, there's a whole lot of incredible work going on with the state in terms of ensuring that the state is working, and the state to a very large extent has really moved on. But there are a whole lot of stuff that still needs to be done. If you are now looking at scaling up and now being at par with significant cities like Dubai, just as a site, or even Portugal, or mostly holiday destination, Lagos has everything that is needed to support an incredible visitors experience. And just again, it boils down to that strategic partnership in terms of working relationship between the private sector and the public sector.
So just to be clear, the objective is to bring in, for people to come into Nigeria to invest, to find opportunities in Lagos and invest. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Ultimately, the objective is to increase the economic base of Lagos and by extension the entire country.
Okay.
And we all know, whenever you go to a location, if it's not really inspiring, your interest is significantly dropped. You would look to other locations where you believe that you can get better value for your money.
Okay, so
in terms
how
of the experience, in terms of the opportunity.
Naturally, the people will be asking questions around what are the incentives that will make Lagos stand out, right? If I'm going to put money in Lagos, what are the incentives that's going to guarantee not just the sustainability and profitability of my business, but that will also guarantee that the thriving new business is an ambassador for the next one coming in?
But that's the reason why the conference has been held. It's a stakeholders engagement. We're talking to ourselves. It's not so much that we're bringing in investors to interface with us at the conference. Of course, we would have members of the international community, probably from the foreign mission, that would attend, and they might want to throw in one or two thoughts and also questions. But by and large, it's really addressing those impinging issues, those issues that can impact on such an investor coming into Nigeria. So it's more like house cleaning. We are simply saying that from the aviation sector, because we have representatives coming in from the aviation sector, from the health sector, from infrastructure, security. So the entire ecosystem of people, professionals that can add value from private sector, public sector, we will all be sitting round table on Tuesday. So it's going to be a masterclass of sort. It's going to be a vigorous session. We're going to be honest with ourselves. We're going to look at those issues, and ultimately we will develop a communique that we'll share with government, sit round table with government as well, and now start to see how these bottlenecks can really be addressed, such that ultimately it will boost and engender confidence of prospective investors.
Okay,
so
the reason
October comes, we will be taking it to London.
My apologies. The reason for this question is Channels is being watched right now in various parts of the world, and they are listening to you and wondering, okay, so what's going to be different? Hitherto, I mean, in years past, we've had the ease of doing business, checks and all those things, and whether or not the structural issues that disturbed businesses from coming in have been addressed, they are totally different things altogether. That's a totally different conversation altogether. So in terms of, the question I'm asking is around the ease of doing business. For businesses in Nigeria that want to export, they have tales to tell that I'm pretty sure you are aware of. So how does this conference address those concerns, not just for those coming in, but for those also who have products in Nigeria that they want to export, or for businesses abroad that want to partner with Nigerian companies, right here?
I'll be very honest with you. There are various programs that would address various issues. We're very clear in our mind on exactly what we're looking to address on Tuesday, the 30th. We're not skipping a point to another point. We are very, very focused. Our focus on this conference is not to talk about the enabling environment for local visitors or even foreign visitors. We're talking about visitors' experience as a whole. Now, of course, just like you said, conferences could have been held, workshops, different programs, but not until we get it right. We wouldn't stop. We have to continue to address the issue till we get to a place at a point where we know for certain we can engender the confidence of whether it's the local investor or the foreign investor. We're talking about fundamental issues. We're talking about issues that can impact on the growth of the local economy. And that is the reason why we're very clear in our mind. We're not organizing an event that is designed strictly to say that this is an investment conference. We say Opportunity Lagos. So in the opportunity, we know that there are challenges there. So those challenges, how those challenges can itself be turned into opportunities. Those are the areas where people will be looking at and will be addressed at the conference. But most importantly, I cannot overemphasize it, we are effectively addressing issues to do with security, issues to do with healthcare, issues to do with arriving at our international access point, that's the airport. Those are the factors that we are looking at: infrastructure, the environment, aesthetics of the city, how the city can become a 21st century quality environment, environmental-wise. So those are the things that we're addressing. And I would once again say, we are not really pursuing, because if people now, based on this interview, decide that they're coming and they are looking to hear about those investment opportunities and how they can take advantage and also raise issues about their own concerns in terms of an enabling environment, that might not necessarily be what they will be hearing at this conference. This conference is very, very specific in terms of its direction. So I think it's important that I make that very clear at this point. Thank you very much.
Right, and it's the conference. You've already said there's a target for, you deal a lot with Nigerians in diaspora. So outside of a conference such as Opportunity Lagos conference, what other ways are you creating awareness for people all over the world, of Nigerians all over the world that are hoping to come home in December, as most always do, come back to see family, come back to celebrate festivities and all that. What other ways are you talking to them outside of this conference to ensure that they get it and they come and do that which you are campaigning for them to do?
Well, I suspect possibly I wasn't fully or properly introduced And I think my role will explain a little bit better. That will help to give an insight into the expanded network.
Yeah.
So my role, very simply, and this is my role for the better part of 40 years, promoting business all over the world into Nigeria. I preside as the CEO of the Global African Investment, and not just Nigeria, across Africa. But Nigeria being my primary constituency, we have networks across the globe.
Yeah.
In America, in the United Kingdom, in Austria, in the Caribbean island. And the feedback is constant. Prince Andrew, Mr. Andrew, what is going on in your country? What's going on in Nigeria? We have these challenges, And it's on the back of that, because ultimately, post the conference, we will be sending message through our networks. And not just the network, but through the media channels that we already have partnership with. It's about engendering confidence. It's about having the right posture. So with this conference, coupled with the Lagos State Conference that was held a few weeks ago, there is a message that is coming out that Lagos is being positioned and getting itself in a place of readiness for visitors. So you can now start to see that work is really in progress. There is an intention, there is a deliberate effort to bring about key changes in specific areas. And also furthermore, that there is a relationship between public and private sector. This is what I believe very strongly will help to boost confidence. And furthermore, obviously at the end of the day, there's got to be performance markers. So we cannot just hold a conference. That's the reason why we're talking about the charter. For me to come back to you, to buy from you, you must demonstrate some performance. You must demonstrate some intention. So it's not just going to be business as usual. We must be able to see that those issues that we raised the last time, they are being addressed, and being addressed not just lightly but robustly. And that is the message we are going to be presenting to them, that work is in progress. It's about communication, and it's that process of communication that we will be really and truly pushing ahead.
Right. Thank you for talking about communication and progress when it comes to the Lagos business environment. You have spoken widely about redeeming Nigeria's image abroad. How will you launch like the Discover Lagos magazine and the new Visit Lagos digital platform systematically, to reshape global perceptions about the country?
Well, this is what it is at the end of the day. It's all about communications. Let me give you some insight and to appreciate. New York City. There is more crime going on in New York City on record than in Lagos, Nigeria. There is more crime going on in South Africa than is going on out here, and that's the reality. But what you find is the way it's been projected. The country or city, it's image projection. So we emphasize more on our good than the negatives. But the narrative concerning Nigeria has constantly been the negative. And that we must, as a culture and as a people, start to change our posture in that direction. So, Discover Lagos. People that have viewed the publication, even those who are based in Lagos, they've been wowed by it. My goodness, we never knew that we had so, but they're there. They're all over the place. They've been there for quite a while. It's just curating the right content and projecting it in a way that will impact on the viewer. So, music, let's look at the creative arts. The way it has been projected, it's now a phenomenon, it's a global phenomenon. I was watching, I think during the World Cup, I believe it was Davido, who was leading in the concert, and I mean, he's a Nigerian. It's good for us. It's the Nigerian image that we are talking about here. So everything that will count towards enhancing the Nigerian story, the Nigerian profile, is what we should emphasize on. It doesn't matter the sector. The primary line of thinking has got to be, let's project what is beautiful, what is inspirational, what is potentially impactful concerning our country, Nigeria. And that is why we've invested in the platform, the publication, and a lot of other things that we've been doing. Best of Nigeria Expo, held that for many years at Excel Exhibition Center.
Okay.
It cost us a lot of money, but we know what it did even at that point in time for Nigeria.
All right.
So it's really about image projection.
Okay. Quickly, because some people will be wondering how they can get more information. Is there a website to go to get more information about this Opportunity Lagos Conference?
Yes. So it's www.visitlagoscity.com. Opportunity Lagos.
Okay.
I'll repeat it.
Okay, so that's exactly where it is right now. Do you have speakers or it's the exhibition? What are the activities to expect?
So we start the day with the conference, which starts at about 9:30, and that then dovetails to an award ceremony organized by the Nigerian Achievers Awards Institute. We will be recognizing a number of key individuals as well as sectors to receive the Lagos Enterprise and Excellence Award in the evening. And that also they can access information under www.nigerianachievers.com.
Well, we can only wish you well, Mr. Andu, because Lagos has been the capital of conferences in Nigeria for a very long time. Yeah. And the conversations usually lead to people wanting to stay, and Lagos continues to receive more and more people. Some interesting things are also happening. Thank you so much for your time this morning, and we wish you all the best. Afolabi Andu is the Pan-African chairman of the Nigerian British Business Forum. We appreciate your time and your thoughts again.
Thank you very much for having me. Really appreciate it.
When we return, we want to ask you, are you burnt out or balanced? That's the question for you to respond to when we return. I'm still not sure. Is it? Do you have to first of all balance before you burn out, or you burn out before you balance?
Or you burn out while balancing?
Or you balance your burnout? Or you burn out your balancing? Because even that image that came on air before they say it shows you're going left and right at the same time. Anyway, shifting your lifestyle from burnout to balance happens when unmanaged. Chronic stress drains your energy, leaving you physically, mentally, and emotionally exhausted. Reversing this cycle requires intentionally setting boundaries, prioritizing rest, and actively nourishing your well-being. Mm-hmm. That's what you probably find from Claude and Grok, etc., etc., etc. Whether that is it or not, and for how long it works, let's find out from Dr. Yemisi Adepoju, who is a performance coach and multi-potentialite entrepreneur and strategist. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
Do you think people understand how and when they set themselves up for burnout?
Yeah, it's critical.
I feel personally, I think people do not understand sometimes. It's not a one-size-fits-all situation because some people go into it. Some people understand that their situation demands it. Some people understand that they don't have a choice. And so it's not like, for instance, sometimes I know like I do too much, and I know that because I know how to multitask. So I tend to do X, Y, Z, and I know I'll burn out. But you need to understand how to balance it, especially when you do something you are not enjoying, like the case of many people these days.
Oh, to do what they are not enjoying.
Yes, 100%. Because we are victims of what exists. A lot of people, for instance, let me go into the workforce, are doing jobs that they don't enjoy because that is what is available to them. And due to my experience with people, I've discovered that a lot of organizations do not even understand that that is affecting their productivity overall, because people are not coming in with job satisfaction.
And what are the earliest or often overlooked, behavioral patterns that, those signs that indicate that you're actually moving from balance to burnout? People, like you rightly said about yourself, when you multitask, you do too much, you already know that you're going to burn out, so you rein it in a little bit. But there's not everybody that recognizes that. So what are those signs that you must look out for?
If you wake up in the morning and you're not happy waking up, then you know that something is wrong. You know that there's no balance with what you do. And these days, it's due to the mental stress can be caused by your finance, your health, family pressure, what have you. And it just affects you that you know that I'm doing this thing, I'm on autopilot. Everybody does work on autopilot these days. Not everybody, some. So when I feel like I'm not enjoying what I'm doing, there are things I do that I wake up, I'm passionate about it, I'm happy. You know that feeling when you are doing something and you're singing and you're excited? Earlier on, I felt the energy between you two. It shows that you enjoy what you do, right? You have a very great voice. You have like the one that complements it. Like, so the creativity comes from deep within because you are enjoying what you do. But a lot of people do not enjoy what they do. So there's no extra spice. And when you are not enjoying what you do, you burn out. If, for instance, I'm a woman, I have to go to work 9 to 5. I come back, I need to wash plates, need to take care of the kids, need to cook food, need to be a wife, need to be everything. I would burn out because I probably don't even enjoy washing plates. I may not even really enjoy my job. Right? Yeah. So all those activities just puts me in survival mode, and I'm not really even enjoying anything. And I'm burning out, and there's nobody to cry for help. Who will I run to? Because everybody has their own. You know that saying, problem not the finish. Everybody has what they are going through.
Yeah.
Well, we have come to understand. I mean, there is something you said. We'll come to your book shortly. She wrote a book, by the way, Broke After Payday.
After payday.
Broke after payday.
Broke after payday.
Well, just what I said the other time, that your take home doesn't take you to the bus stop.
How about broke before payday? Oh, God, that's
no, you are broke before payday. Normally. You are broke before payday. So it's, but when you are not broke after payday, there's a couple. But, perhaps we need to help people understand what burnout is. For an ordinary worker, what does burnout look like, and how do you distinguish laziness from exhaustion?
Very good question, because I have like an experience I had with an organization. So I did go to an organization for peak performance, which is something I do by the side. So I went into this organization, I spoke with all the employees, and I discovered something within them. They were not happy with their boss. They were not satisfied. And one mistake we make in Nigeria, for instance, you need a job. You have a vacancy. Somebody sends a CV. You just give the person the job based on the vacancy and the fact that maybe you know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. And that's how you get the job. Nobody really asks somebody, are you passionate about this? And because the other person is in need, there's black tax, there's financial stress, you need to take care of yourself. Everybody says, I can do it. What makes you stand out? What makes you feel you add value? I'm the best person for this job. Give it to me and I'll prove you. But are they really the best people for the job? Right? So in going to this organization, after speaking with everybody, finding out their mental state and everything that is affecting the overall productivity of the organization, I discovered that the security guy that opens the door is actually so educated, knows more about the job than the supervisor, and is the best person for the job. So in my engagement, because I talked from the gate man to the end, like to the manager, and I spoke to the management. I said, give me a chance to make this guy on a proprietary level, the supervisor. Just give me assistant supervisor. Just give him an opportunity. If you have to put your supervisor on a study leave or a course something, just do it, because it's going to be somehow your security now, you know. So we have to work on the mindset of everybody, knowing the fact that you are used to him opening the door for you and now going to, you know. At the end of the day, to cut the long story short, the guy behaved amazingly well. The productivity, the revenue of the company increased by 20% within 2 months. How did we arrive there? Right? The guy is educated. He came in, but that was the only vacant job. So opening the gate every day, opening the door or everything, he wasn't happy. He would do it because that's the only thing he has to do. He has to feed his family and all that. But was he really unleashing his potential? And oh no. So how many people do we have that are going through that process? We know people that are educated with BSc, MSc, and drivers today because there's no job availability, or they don't have the connection to get them to where they need to be. So I feel like employers have like a task to do. When you see that you're not growing or your productivity level is low and the morale of your employees are low, you could do this and find out why. Mental health is something that is abused or ignored in Nigeria because everybody feels we are rugged and it's not a necessity.
And we're the happiest people on earth.
Yeah, and we move on quickly.
You still haven't answered my question. That's a very... I don't want to be that gate man, but, you know, because God knows for how many years he was on that, at that duty post. But then you still haven't answered the question about the difference between laziness and exhaustion.
Laziness for me is you can do it, but you don't just want to do it.
Okay.
You know it, you can do it, but you don't feel like doing it just because you are lazy. I don't believe there's anybody dumb. I say it all the time. I believe people don't have the motivation, self-motivation or external, either internal or external motivation to do things. It's like I tell a child, wash plates. The child knows how to wash plates. But the child will not just want to wash plates, just being lazy. And a lot of us, sometimes it's not physical laziness, it's mental laziness. Mental laziness is when you blame everybody for something that you know you have the power to do. You just want to shift blame. So when there's exhaustion means you are working, like I explained, you are a woman, you do X, Y, Z, everything, and you are just exhausted, right? You cannot just function. So that creativity that comes naturally to you would just go very low because there's exhaustion. You are mentally exhausted, you are physically exhausted, and that leads to stress. Your hormones are out of the place and all that. So the difference between laziness, exhaustion is, I can do it, but I'm tired. Laziness means I can do it, but I don't feel like doing it. I just want to watch movies and be on my bed.
Well, Joke definitely has a question for you because she's smiling from ear to ear like...
I just wrote that down. I'm tired. Really, yeah, because you paint, I don't know, you paint a picture of maybe like a typical mom. You know, if we can take it there, because I always say I should not talk about mommies and children, but
I didn't say so.
Because how do like moms prevent burnout, for instance, and don't say take on maybe house staff or help or whatever, because moms too nowadays, if you don't want to be a stay-at-home mom, you typically do like a 9-to-5 job as well. And we do know 9-to-5 jobs are no longer 9-to-5. There's an extension of the 8 hours to 10, 12 sometimes, depending on your deadline that you have, because companies demand that now. And if you're a serious employer, even if you do 8 hours, if you want to do your job well, you do the extra without even thoughts. But then you get home, and then there's still homework to be done. there's food to be cooked, there are children to prep for the next day of school, there's this, there's that, and you probably don't sit down even when you get home. After driving like maybe an hour, if you don't live close to the office, to get home, and then you spend another 5 to 6 hours on your feet doing one thing or the other before you go to bed. That's disaster calling, don't you think?
Recipe for disaster.
All right. So how should women navigate this? I also have, dads that could also be in that position, maybe because their wives are not around, or maybe they are single dads, or what have you. I don't know the situation, but really, how do parents, essentially, depending on the roles they play, prevent that kind of burnout, hopping from work to home, and you still have a family to take care of?
So, are you talking about single parents?
I'm talking about parents who play.
If you are parents in the home, then there should be shared responsibility.
I'm talking about when you find yourself
in a situation where you have to do everything.
When you are alone with with the family at that time, and then you don't have both partners available.
Oh,
how do you prevent? Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
If it was me, if I know I have to make food like throughout the week, I would have done some preparations that would assist me. Those days I used to cook every Sunday, which is a relaxed food day, cook for the week. You know how we women know how to make things easier for us, right? And we now train our kids to become independent in a way where they are self-sufficient, right? Yes, the beginning time, it's tedious, but yes, that's why you have the daycare, unfortunately, or the maternity leave to kick off, then you put the child in the daycare and all that. But these days, we have kids as small as from 3 years old. They're able to I've finished showering, you could, put on your... So I feel it's more of, you can balance it by just making it work for you, putting a structure to it. People feel that structures are only for organizations. You need structure for your finance, you need structure for your home. Structure means that some things can just automatically work or make it more seamless, because even if you have a structure here today now, somebody could come tomorrow and see this is how it is done and follow through because you already have your KPIs and all that. So as a mom or as a dad, you could have a structure whereby you just make it seamless. It doesn't still take the fact that you will not still be stressed and all that. That's where you now need to understand that you need rest. On the 7th day, Jesus rested, right? So you need rest.
Right.
And you need to find that time out too. Time out too works.
Yeah.
I feel like those days we used to say going to the spa for a massage is luxury. It's not luxury, it's a necessity.
I think she's the second or third person that's going to say that. Like going for a massage is no longer a luxury. It's something you must do.
It never was.
No, at a point in time it was.
Yeah, it was. But thank God HMOs are now putting it on their...
It never was what's the word, luxury.
Yeah, depending on what you do.
No, the reality is, I mean, I stand to be correct, but the reality is your body was designed to move.
Yeah.
So if you're a body that is designed to move is not made to move, it will asphyxiate. The same way when you have an engine that's supposed to run from time to time and it doesn't run, even if it's brand new and you just serviced it now, I assure you, if you don't use the engine, you're going to have to fix it before you can use it. So that's just the way it is. But one other thing that's a bit disturbing about that, I mean, from the structure and stuff that you're talking about, is sometimes the problem is not the structure. Sometimes the problem is the sustainability of the structure. Some things don't just remain the same for long. For instance, you have a kid, your child is staying with you today, and tomorrow, for one reason or the other, that child has to stay in boarding school. There's a gap automatically created. Okay, there's a structure for doing something from so time to so time on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. For some reason, you have to travel for like a week, right? And it's the job that you took. When you signed any other responsibility,
I can work under pressure.
And all those things.
I can work without supervision.
So you also made it, clear there. Mental burnout is the number one culprit here. So how do we address that mental? Because if we can balance it out up here I think the rest is just figuring out how to resolve it.
Like I said earlier, that's the part that is still ignored in Nigeria maybe because of our culture and all that.
But I'm sorry, isn't that supposed to be a personal choice?
No, I feel that organizations should make it a thing. It's the responsibility of organizations to have a mental health, either outsourced or in-house, to take care of their employees. Because you'll be shocked at what you hear. When I go for these things, this peak performance coaching for organizations, I hear a lot of things. And you'll be shocked at the problems that people are going through. So it has to, the first time I came across this, because I used to do it for individuals only, I watched this movie, Billions, and I saw that they had an in-house person that was taking care of that thing. Didn't you see how their productivity increased? Because you have somewhere to come in and dump, and you know it is confidential.
If they didn't have that psychologist in that company, I promise you, they would have failed in the first 1 month.
Thank you.
You know the kind of pressure. These guys were dealing with billions on a regular basis. Guess what? Their take-home, I'm not sure. Well, it could take them to the train station, but I'm not sure.
It's like going to the power room every day and you don't see money and you know that you can't touch this money, right? Or this one, it's not even going to the power room. You are making the money for people. So how many organizations in Nigeria actually do that?
Okay. So this is more a call for the organization. But what I'm saying, okay, the fact that the organization doesn't provide it doesn't mean that you cannot design your lifestyle in a way that, because if they don't do it, ultimately, God forbid that anything happens to you, the position is got to be filled.
Immediately.
Right? Exactly. So how does the individual help himself? You know, someone was just, well, I don't want to call him crazy, but someone was just saying into my ears that HMO should also cover beer palace. That's so people can go and relax there. I don't know, but you know, so what does the fellow need to do himself? And please don't listen to my colleague. You know, who need to have some kind of stability themselves for their own sake.
People should learn how to speak up. A closed mouth, they say, is a closed destiny. I think people should get over this, I am okay, when you are not okay. You say, how are you? There's an automatic, I'm fine. How are you? If you are not fine, you are not fine. Speak up, ask for help. Fortunately for us, we have social media has its disadvantages and advantages. On social media, there are a lot of people that are helping people get off this. Go to YouTube. YouTube alone is a university. You see these psychologists, coaches, just type in whatever you are going through. There's a lot of things. The power of journaling. Journal what you are going through. Think about the solution. You cannot even take up the God factor, right? There's a scripture for every problem in the Bible. So whatever, like there are so many resources that could help you, but you need to come to the awareness. If you do not think that there's a problem with you, then you cannot get help. Because I need to know that I have a problem. I am sick. I need a doctor. But a lot of people are ignorant about the fact that they actually even burnt out.
It takes me to emotional intelligence, Doc.
Yeah.
I'm the number one thing about emotional intelligence, if I remember clearly, is self-awareness. And then there is self-regulation or whatever else like that. That self-awareness, the first step, is a problem.
Yeah.
Why is it a problem? Because even agreeing that I have a problem, some people find it difficult.
Especially men.
Especially men. Me, I don't have a problem with it, you.
Men like to be men. You know, they have this ego thing and like, oh, I don't have a problem. Okay,
no, I
can chest it.
I can say this for some men.
Yeah.
The reason some men don't want to speak is because they have spoken before and they have been judged. And if a man feels like, look, I'm not going to be listened to anyway.
True, though.
What's the point? And the same goes for the female gender. If I feel that talking to this particular fellow is not going to help me, if anything, it's going to make my life worse, so what's the point? So that's what I think. But, you know, generally, and you're right, generally, some people, to agree that there is a problem, to come to that self-awareness of a problem, is a problem.
Yeah.
So, and their responsibilities aren't decreasing. Still a father, still a mother, still a brother, still an uncle, still a benefactor, still a child to someone, still a worker somewhere, and self-awareness is absent. What do we do? What does that fellow do?
We keep on preaching the message. Yeah, but really, we just keep on speaking it everywhere. I know that I have a mission to like speak on this. I volunteer to like some hospitals in their psych wards to deal with suicidal people and all that. So it's, if you know you have a calling or you have a gift where you could help people, especially when it comes to their emotions, then you should take up that responsibility and just preach the gospel. Go to schools, secondary schools, catch them young. I went to a secondary school some time ago, and what I heard, even the teachers and the parents do not know the girl was raped in school and she could not speak out. And she goes home every day and the parents think everything is okay, teachers think everything is okay, and they are going through a lot. So I feel like it is our responsibility as parents to go the extra mile to speak with our children, as teachers, as adults, right? So if you I just feel everybody has a calling to...
I think you should expatiate a little further on that speaking of thing, because I think it is a grossly underestimated activity.
Yeah.
And you need to expatiate on it a little further. Not talking creates sickness within.
Yeah.
I'm not sure many people know that.
You're swallowing it. You're keeping it bottled in. You know, one time have you ever cried and felt better? You know, for no reason, and you just feel like, why are you crying? There's just so many things bottled up. It's energy, right? You keep on piling, you stockpile. And one day it just comes gushing out. But it could come gushing out even as ailments. Somebody was diagnosed with cancer and they said, but she exercises, she eats well, she does that. But what about her mental health? I had a client one time that was going through some issues. He was always angry, full of anger. And one day I called him, he called me and he was complaining. I said, where are you? He said he was somewhere. I said, can you go to a laboratory and just run some tests? He said, this is not what I'm saying. I said, please do run some tests. He did. And so we started working. I said, don't get the results, send it to my email, which they did. 3 months later, after the whole process of my 21 days program and all that, I said, repeat the test. I said, check the difference. And he started crying, a 54-year-old man.
So he didn't know the test results?
No, it was
you viewed it, and then you took him through a program based on the results that you saw?
No, based on me changing his attitude, mindset towards life.
Based on the results you saw, so you worked with him based on that.
Yeah.
He doesn't know anything, and then the results changed.
Yes, because, okay, let me even just make it easy. 2 people go for a test. One person has HIV, one person doesn't have HIV. They mistakenly give Mr. Kayode the HIV result. Meanwhile, it's the negative one and the positive one. And 3 months later, Mr. Kayode that was negative dies. What killed Mr. Kayode?
It's fear.
He's not sick, but he died. The subconscious doesn't even know what is right or wrong. You're watching an horror movie today and you are afraid. You're watching something on the TV and people are sad, they are crying, and you're crying. Why are you crying? Why are you afraid? It's a movie.
Somebody wrote it.
Somebody wrote it. But your subconscious does not know that it is a movie. Your subconscious is reacting to what you are taking in consciously.
So then, this is essentially talking about what we intake in our lifestyles.
Yeah.
I usually have this opinion that, look, talking about people is very, very much more problematic than talking about things.
Yeah.
Am I correct?
Absolutely.
You sit down, the only thing you want to talk about is that he did this to me, he did that to me.
Yeah, it's exhausting.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How?
Is it not exhausting?
How am I supposed to know? She's the doctor?
Well, sometimes you're just going through you know that local saying that you're taking Panadol for another person's headache. The person is living their life. And you are here talking about what Chioma did with Davido. Is it your business? Right?
Yes, they are public figures.
I understand. Talk about the things that are public, not the things that are not public. So a lot of people waste time, and time is money. Time should be valuable to you, but we don't even understand the value of our time. Yeah. That's why we waste time, and we've all been there. Okay. But thank God for,
for wisdom.
Wisdom.
So, just one or two things, Doc. So for someone right now who is burnt out, drained, exhausted, flat out, already considering, already in the periphery of depression yes. and is already looking at the Third Mainland Bridge with one kind of eye, what does the person need to do first to come to some kind of balance? What does the person need to do this very moment?
I mean, first thing I'll do is take a deep breath. When I meet people like that, you need to breathe in and breathe out, because clinically, deep breaths are also very helpful, right? Then you also need to come to a realization that there is nothing new, and you're not the only one going through that. I did an exercise one time where I told like 10 people to write their problems, and I told each person to pick a problem. You pick a problem and you read it and you realize that what you were going through is not even as much as this person. At the end of the day, everybody wanted their problem back.
Wow.
Because you think the world has come to an end because you are going through this, or you are afraid of this thing. Like I say, write your fears. What's the worst that will happen? Most of us are afraid of death because we have not lived well. People that are afraid, that are not afraid of death because they've lived a good life, and they know that what comes next, they have left a good legacy, right? You're afraid of I don't know what fears anybody could have. I believe in the power of writing. I believe in the power of speaking. I believe in the 5-second rule. If you are going through, if you have suicidal thoughts and everything, just even saying 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 takes your mind, your brain, like it resets your brain a little, right? So, and you need to know that you are not alone in the world. Sometimes what is going on is depressing. If I'm going through something and I start helping people, I have my people I'm helping and all that, I forget my problem completely.
That's a good escape for some people. Yeah. Just before we let you go, what made you write broke after payday?
With a question mark.
Okay. Broke after payday?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's broke after payday.
Okay.
Yeah, because working with lots of employees and being in a space where I've experienced how microfinance banks runs and how cooperative banks, societies and all that function. And I realized that a lot of employees are struggling, living from debt to debt, living from different financial struggles, and it's never enough. It's never just enough. You know how sad it is where you should be earning 700, but your take-home is less than 50,000 because there's direct debits on everything. And some of these things are not necessary. Some of these things can be prevented. Right? So the fact that you do a 9 to 5 doesn't mean that you cannot save or have passive income or have, or structure your salary, your take-home. Because I feel like you should budget. Every naira should have an allocation. Your money could be sent on an errand. And when you send money on a good errand, it comes back with multiplication. When you send it on a bad errand, it goes off. That's when some people want to, like, peer pressure, social pressure. That's one of the disadvantages of social media. I have seen someone that shopped for herself, wrapped it, and did as if a partner gave her, just for social media clout.
The Lord be with them. Thank you so much for your time this morning. I'm pretty sure that we're going to have this another conversation like this some other time, hoping that some people would have moved to burnout to balance by the next time you come. And those who have gone from balance to burnout, you'll also be able to speak with them. Dr. Yemisi Adepoju, plenipotentialite, entrepreneur and strategist, as well as performance coach. We appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me. So it's a great time speaking with you today. Thank you.
Well, one of the things that usually helps people to escape burnout is music. It's related to what we are talking about when we return. Well, I really wish we had enough time for me to put out a quiz and say, who is that artist of the week? Anyway, please welcome a Nigerian drummer, percussionist, iconic figure in the history of Nigerian music, trained and mentored countless drummers and musicians, locally and internationally. For more than 3 decades, he has been privileged to work as an instrumentalist and drummer, music director, band manager, project coordinator, and drum instructor, having worked with Phil Driscoll, Lionel Peterson, Kelvin Bond, T-Mac, Johnny Brown, Logan Smith, Yvonne Shaka Shaka, Ron Kenoli, Onyeka Onwenu, Christian Igbokwe, Steve Rhodes, Mike Okri, Blackie, Alex O, Sonny Neji, Alex Zito, Sami Okposo, the list goes on. Please welcome Raymond Jehovah, popularly known as Papa Ray.
Papa Ray. Papa Ray.
Thank you.
When you hear your CV being read like that, how does it feel?
All those big names people are calling person. You know, I put as phone now.
Oh, wow.
It's good to see you.
Yeah, it's quite a rich CV there. Oh, when I heard, names like Phil Driscoll, it brought me back, took me back memory lane, how I used to listen to his music back then, and it brought me joy. Well, I can imagine what joy you had, working with that array of people that, we also know, quality musicians as well.
Especially because most of the time, Ray, when people know these big names, people know the Sami Okpozos, Alex O's, in those days, Ron Kenoli and all, we don't usually see the musicians performing behind them, making all those things happen. The drummer, the bassist, the keyboard player, the guitarist, and all of that. How does that feel for many musicians?
It's really, the question is very, very tricky. You see, some of those artists those artists you mentioned now, the young generation that are coming up now will be wondering, where did you get those names from? Do those names exist? But it's really fun. It's really fun because when I was growing up, I had the opportunity to meet these guys because that was what was happening at that time. And it's upon these foundations that music actually grew up in Nigeria, contemporary, where we actually brought especially for Christian Aisi and Ubokwe, Onyeka Onwenu, those guys that I played with, actually brought that African thing I was hidden there. We were able to bring it out. And especially that I had to now mix, when you say Afrocentric, people just hear the word Afrocentric, they really don't know what Afrocentric means. I had to bring the contemporary thing and infuse it into our thing, our African thing there. And it became something that was very, very colorful. Became something that everybody appreciated. Became something that the young drummers saw and knew that, wow, this can be different. For example, now, that song that Christiana has sang, it was supposed to be an African beat that was there, but the drumming that you will hear in that album is English drumming. It was actually a pop drum, you understand, that was played in that music. But it's sold as an African record, not as English record. He saw that thing won award to Christianese Ibokwe, where they had to give her a limousine. I think a Rolls Royce or a limousine. That thing won for her, and several amount of money. So the young generations that are coming don't understand this. Everything everybody just want to play now. They just sit down on the drums and they want the soup that is already done. Fast principle. You just push it. You dump the how do you call it in English now? Those bottom pots that makes what drumming sound like. And sometimes they look back. They don't look at the fathers that opened this thing. If not that, you are calling me now. So they don't even know who Papa Ray is. I have cut across like 4 generations. You understand? For like 4 decades. Let me not say 4 generations. Like 4 decades. It's only the students that I put outside there that from there you can know who Papa Ray is. You know, you cannot really mention drumming in Nigeria that you don't mention the foundations. People like us, by grace, so it's not that we're using it to boast to.
Well, that leads to another question of legacy, of sustainability, of standards. I see a lot of drummers. I mean, these days of social media, people, you know, the drummer just wants himself to be on Facebook so that you can know the magic or whatever that he can perform. But you've also touched something very, very serious, and that is the cultural value of our music. Everyone is talking about Afrobeats now. Everyone all over the world, you play any Afrobeat song by any of these younger people, as you talked about, and their heads are all over the place. But while it's a great opportunity for young musicians to be seen and known all over the world, do you see any risks that we are running as a continent, as a culture? Do you see any cultural erosion that could result from us not sustaining, if we are not, in your opinion, our cultural values and our music cultural values in the songs that we are putting out, even though Nigerian music is now very, very famous all over the world?
Why? You know the problem, I had opportunity to travel to Europe several times, you know, and then the first thing that I was asked to do is that, yes, they know that we have this thing, but our people cannot even write what they read on the script. So if you give the same beat that the same drummer just played now, who claimed that he's an African drummer or whatever, when you put it in a piece of, in a music sheet and you give it to him, he dies. He doesn't even know that it's his beat that you have written out for him to play. You'll be looking at the book as if I explaining him. So, well, so the manuscript becomes like a mirror to him. He doesn't know what to play anymore. But for people like us, and that is what I teach, I try to make them read this thing and you're able to write it. If you're able to read it and write it, the white man will respect you. The white man will say, if you want to hide anything from a black man, you go and put it in the book. So what they do, they will listen to our own beat and write it and bring it to us to come and play. We cannot play it, but yet their drummer can look at it and play our beat. It not look as if that they are better than us. No, they are not better than us in anything. When you want to talk of a culture, our culture is very rich. The white man music is very straight. I can play about hundreds of rock music for you now, and I can predict their beats. African beat you cannot predict. How can you play Akpala? What do you understand by pseudo? Our Ekwe, yeah. What do they understand about it? They don't know these things. So they come here and they listen to it. They just carry the record, they go back home, they go and write it. For example now, the 2-3 clave or 3-2 clave, like we will call it, it's African, but now they are not calling it the universal clave. It's not universal. Afro-Cuban is claiming it, that it's Afro-Cuban. The beat that sound like this: 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, or 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. All African rhythm, whether triplets or 4/4 timing, got their foundation from this. That is why our mothers and our parents who are old, when you hear them sing any song, the first thing you hear is this clavier. Nobody taught them because it is in the blood. For example, I sing a song for you now. Which kind soup, mama cook, soup. Look at how our clap to me. Which kind soup, mama cook, obolo soup. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Nobody taught them that. And this rhythm is what the white man is calling universal clavier because it is very, very rich. The Africans in Cuba, when they play this rhythm, that's why they call it Afro-Cuban or they call it Afro-Latin. So that African thing, they put inside Cuban music. You now hear Afro-Cuban, you now hear Afro-Latin. It's our thing because thing is very, very rich. So they stole it from us. So they didn't want to call it their own because they know that we will shout about it. They just said it's universal. What is universal? It's our thing. We never claim funk. Funk is not our own. We didn't claim pop. Pop is not our own. We didn't claim reggae. Reggae is not our own. But this 2-3 clavier or 3-2 clavier is our thing. They stole it from us. Our boys go there, they fool them with the same rhythm. They give them the same rhythm and say, come and play this thing. They sit down there and just play it and they cannot say that this thing is our own. Nobody could defend it. But when I got to Europe, as I'm arguing my case with you now, I argued it with them and I won the case. They don't believe why? Because I could play it and I could write it. I could read it. Our boys can play and know very few of them. I can count them, except maybe students that I train, whether in SPAN or on one-on-one basis now, that can read and write this thing. Every drummer, no matter what you can play, if you cannot read and you cannot write drumming, I never consider you as a great drummer. You are just one of those people that are just doing it. I hope this makes sense.
So you had a couple of firsts, I must say. You're considered an encyclopedia of drumming. You introduced a double pedal bass drumming setup locally. In the 80s and 90s. How did that come about?
Man, it was just crazy. We didn't think about the money. I didn't even think about the fame. I just wanted to play that instrument. So everything I could do at that time, both rehearsal, you understand, I could leave my house, go and sit with Fuji musicians. Just sit down there all night. Nobody invited me. Yeah, fine, there's free food to eat, but the food is not my problem. I'll just go and sit down. I just want to sit down there and listen all night how those local musicians who could not play contemporary drumming like me, how they do their balatin. So I picked it up from there. I'll go and listen to the Fuji musicians, how they played it, and I'll pick it from there. So I pick all these things pieces by pieces, and now brought it and try as much as possible to infuse it into the music that was happening that time. Then Asian, Sonny Okosun, what's his name again? Onyeka Onwenu, Alexo, name them. There are plenty at that time. So it was fun for me. I wasn't looking for money. I just wanted an act. I just wanted something new. I just wanted to create something that nobody has ever touched before. So that was what I was doing. So I became like a sensation. You just look at this one playing. I said, so this instrument can be played like this. Because they thought that it was only the white people that would play the instrument. Funny enough, they made the instruments. We didn't make it. Especially that drum set thing. And we have our local one, Conga, Jimby, and other. But that drum set, it wasn't from us. They were the one that founded it. So people just thought that it's only white people that can play it. And that became like insult, especially to my person. So I was not looking for fame. Neither was I looking for money. I just wanted to prove a point. So everywhere I played this instrument, people never knew that I was a Nigerian. Because I didn't actually look like a Nigerian. Because I had very, very long Jerry calls. And you will see me wear choke 1, choke 2, choke 3 necklaces. My dressing was like it was the foreign one. So I wasn't the African boy that would just wear adire, come and play, check it. So I wanted to create a standard. And that standard came to stay. And that is the drumming that you are hearing today. So the few people that we train, you understand, pick this thing up, you understand, and they were able to spread it around. If not, we would have still be behind and playing that Nigerian kind of drumming that I made at that era. So I was able to crack that thing. that international team, I was able to crack it. So people saw that, yeah, the black boys in Africa or black boys from Nigeria can actually play internationally. And they are all over the world today. We have gone past that stage where it is only the white man that can play. We are doing something great. I have one guy that I see him and the guy reminds me of me. And his name is Benji. Fantastic guy. So people call him the greatest drummer in Africa for now. Fine, I give him that credit. He cannot be the greatest drummer in Africa because there are some people that you have not seen. But he just had that opportunity where people are able to see him play. He came to come and meet me in Spain, and I saw him, and we talked about it. I taught him one or few things. But the guy is really great. He is not the greatest, but he's really great. So this is what I'm talking about. The foundation, you can't take away the foundation. The foundation must be correct. If that foundation is correct, people will pick it up from there. And that is what you see happening right now.
But you know, it still leaves the responsibility with people like you, people like K-Sticks, and the rest of you like that, to not just watch things go the way they continue to go. Now, everyone is talking about Sugarfoot, late Michael Jackson's drummer. And he's also, of course, very, very proud of the things that he's done. And a number of other guys, Chester something, who played with the Integrity Music for a very long time. So people are talking about these guys. So, but the identity of the Nigerian music, of African music, as you have said, is there. You can't miss it. You can't rule it out. So how do we make it a standard? Not just something that people can play anyhow, but something that can be internationalized. You've said it. Pop is not ours, but we play pop. Afrobeat is ours. Funk is not ours, but we play funk. Akbala is ours. So how do we position such styles, particularly in the world, so that anyone from anywhere can play it while we retain the ownership, identity?
That's a very, very good question. You see what has killed my guys of my age and some above me, some beneath me, who had the opportunity, you understand, to travel outside this country. They left this country with everything they knew. They went back there and now joined the bandwagon of what is happening in international standard. Why? Because of the money. They say you need to become like how do they say it in English again? So, in a nutshell, we sold what we have because of the dollar. We sold what we have because of the pounds. Because when we get there, they force you to play the music. Because you get to Europe right now, you find out that very, very, very few. The only band that I saw in Europe that was actually making wave in their nightclub was this Makossa band. Makossa band, because it's francophone, they speak French. And so few countries in Europe were able to understand what they were doing. You understand? And they just danced to the music anyhow. And the music was selling like mad in the club. The album didn't sell, but the live performance was sold out because of get out of this place. Instead, they will bring African music and put pop drumming and put funk instead because they want to sell it. The only person that made that thing happen, that tried, was Femi, because he took it from his father, and Femi went there and started playing that bang, 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 I just they go bang, bang, bang. But you see here that the African, that big drum, that root thing, you see here that thing inside, and they kept that Afrobeat, and they kept it in the music. But our guys go out there now, and they play pop drumming into the African thing. So we can't go like that. The only way for us to go on, for them to recognize us, is to carry our thing, you understand, and push it. Carry our music, let our beat sit down on our thing. That's the only way we can do it.
Okay. Now, one last thing, because we're running out of time. You've worked with quite a number of churches. I see you there is a list of about 5 or 6 here that you have shared with us. Church music is another thing that a number of people are coming from. Of course, needless to say, many Nigerians, many musicians came from the church as well, both locally and internationally. But then there is still that question. I don't know where you place it. And please don't use your standard is very, 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 very in those days. People say that musicians should not charge churches or religious houses when they are playing for them. And the opinions are divided on that. There are those who say there's a difference between ministry and industry. Where do you belong?
That's bullshit. Why would they say that musicians should not charge? I've worked in churches where the pastors are being paid. Why do they pay the pastor? The head pastor, fine, he's calling, they will not tell you they are receiving salaries. But the benevolence that goes to his pocket, you don't know. But the pastor that work under them, some went to Bible school, some didn't go, they are associate pastors. They pay them, pastors. So why will you not pay a musician? Do you know how long it takes to learn an instrument when the pastor wasn't there? When the church was not there, they call you from outside to join them. We can do this, and you're playing. And it takes at least 5 to 7 years to get to the point of appreciation in playing any instrument. Whether you go and learn it in school or whether you self-develop it, it takes that 5 years, that dedication, nights and whatever, listening to record, developing yourself. So they don't see it as a profession. Some of them, so when you come to the church and you're playing, I tell you are working for God. Is the pastor not also working for God? Is he not feeding from is he not eating from the church? Why will you muscle the horse that tread the corn? And let angels come and be playing praise and worship for us.
How about
do you understand?
how about musicians? How about music ministers that are invited from outside who are also music ministers? You call them music ministers. Do they charge or they just wait for honorarium?
Some of them charge, and the pastors have made them do that. Because if a pastor comes to a church to come and preach, the church will give the pastor honorarium. Abi? Now the musician comes to the church to come and play. You are supposed to give him honorarium. The guy finally opens his envelope after he has ministered for like 3 days. He opened his envelope, he came with his band, and you are giving him 200,000 for him to share with his band. That's insult to his profession. So the next time you call him to come and play, he will give you his charges.
Right.
Charging is not a sin now. It is my work. They have cheated us several times. They don't tell you, you don't know the offerings, you don't know the tithes. I work in the church, a church that we started together from Crado. The church got to a place where the tithe was about 3 million on Sunday. The offering we don't know until they count it, but the tithe got to about 3 million. And the church was still paying us 15,000 naira. When we started to speak about it, I said, okay, not like this supposed to be. This was the family thing, before you knew what was happening like this there. They just gave me leave. I'm not going to leave for like 5 years. They gave me leave. They said, Ray, you never go leave. They gave me leave, and I went for 2 months without any leave allowance. Only for me to come back to the church. My name is no longer in the account. They have already cut me off. So it's not my ministry. Who will I take it to? Will I take it to court? Will I go and call the police? They just yanked me off like that. I went to go and meet this person. This person, the HOD said I should go and meet their pastor. I went to their pastor. After I said I should went to their account. They were just pushing me like that. My name was no longer in the church. Why? Because I did not sign anything with them. So tomorrow night you call me, Ray, I want you to come and handle my choir and groom them for about 3 months. I will give you my charges. If you cannot pay it, you understand? Then you sit down and look for somebody else to do it.
Or maybe you want them to, maybe they should do it themselves. Well, so I'm looking forward to a conference where you discuss all of these issues because the concerns are quite a few. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Raymond Jehovi, popularly known as Papa Ray, one of Nigeria's greatest drummers and percussionists. Appreciate your time and your thoughts again.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
When we return next week, to an equally great audience. Oh, wow. Thank you for sticking with us and, listening to our voices and listening to everything we have for you this Saturday. Pleasure.
Yes. Pleasure. I finished my...
Your what?
My tea.
Zebote.
Yeah, finished it. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. I'm Ayo Makine and she is...
I'm Jackie Rogers.
See you next week.